The heart of Psalm 21 beats with a rhythm of gratitude and triumph, a song spun from the loom of divine faithfulness. It opens with a king, David, perhaps, or a later monarch, or even the shadow of a greater king yet to come, pouring out praise to God for victories granted, for prayers answered, for the unshakable bond between the Lord and His anointed. The psalmist does not merely list blessings, he marinates in them, letting the richness of God's favor saturate every syllable. The king rejoices in your strength, Lord, he declares, and already we are invited into a paradox. The mightiest human authority, the crown bearer, the commander of armies, finds his greatest joy not in his own power, but in the strength of the one who ordained his reign. This is a humility that disarms the ego, a recognition that every earthly victory is a borrowed glory, a reflection of divine light. The king's joy is not self-congratulatory, but God-magnifying. How often do we, even in our small triumphs, mistake the gift for the giver? How easily we cling to the trophy and forget the hand that placed it in ours. Here, the psalmist models a posture of relentless gratitude. How great is his joy in the victories you give. The victories are yours, he insists. Not mine, not the army's, not the product of strategy or skill. They are divine gifts, and thus the joy they produce is untainted by pride, unshaken by circumstance. Consider the intimacy of the relationship depicted here. The king does not merely receive blessings from a distant deity. He is met by a God who grants the desires of his heart and does not withhold the request of his lips. There is a dialogue, a reciprocity of trust and provision. The Lord listens, the Lord acts, the Lord surprises his servant with rich blessings and a crown of pure gold. But this is no transactional exchange. It is the outworking of covenant loyalty. The crown, the throne, the length of days, the splendor and majesty. These are not rewards for good behavior, but confirmations of God's unwavering commitment to His promises. The Davidic covenant echoes here, the pledge that a son of David would reign forever, 2 Samuel 7:12-16. Yet the psalm also hints at a tension. Earthly kings die. David's dynasty crumbled, the gold tarnished. How then do we reconcile the psalm's bold declarations with history's grim testimony? The answer lies in the horizon beyond the text, in the one who would wear the crown of thorns before receiving the crown of glory, whose victory over sin and death would fulfill every shadow of this psalm's promises. The latter half of the psalm shifts tone abruptly, trading gratitude for warning, celebration for sober prophecy. Your hand will lay hold on all your enemies, the psalmist declares, and the imagery grows fierce. Fire consuming the wicked, the Lord swallowing them in wrath, their plans thwarted, their offspring erased. This is uncomfortable for modern readers. Steeped as we are in a gospel of mercy, how do we reconcile the God of Psalm 21:9 with the God of John 3:16? The key lies in understanding the psalm as both a historical battle hymn and a cosmic proclamation. The enemies here are not merely human adversaries, but embodiments of evil, forces opposed to God's righteous reign. The king's victory is a microcosm of God's ultimate triumph over darkness. The fire that consumes is the same refining fire that purifies, the same holy justice that demands evil be eradicated. Yet even here, grace whispers. The psalm's final verse erupts into praise. Be exalted in your strength, Lord. We will sing and praise your might. Judgment is not an end in itself, but a means to glorify God. to restore order, to make way for shalom. For the modern believer, Psalm 21 is a mirror and a map. It reflects our tendency to claim victories as our own and redirects our gaze to the true victor. It maps the journey from prayer, Psalm 20, to praise, Psalm 21, teaching us to trace every blessing back to its source. It challenges us to confront the enemies within, the pride, fear, and self-sufficiency that resist God's reign, and to trust that His strength will dismantle every stronghold. And it points us to Christ, the King who exchanged His throne for a cross, whose resurrection secured the ultimate victory, and whose eternal reign fulfills the longing embedded in every word of this ancient hymn.